A very good morning to you guys. Welcome to Asake Online. My name is Brighton. Over the past days, we've been talking about the issue of Starlink, where the government is giving a note to say Starlink can operate in Zimbabwe. People have been debating about the operation of Starlink and want to hear today the opportunities that are there in terms of using Starlink and what is the better Starlink and other providers that are there already in Zimbabwe. Joining me to understand this is Mlungisi Dube, political analyst, and also Ndlovu, tech guru here at Cite to help us understand more around the issue of Starlink. Good morning to you, gentlemen.
Morning, Brighton.
I'll start with you, Sean, on the issue of opportunities right there for Starlink.
Okay, so when we think or talk about opportunities that are available for Starlink, they're quite immense. To start off with, from the president's announcement, I think they will be targeting all schools and all. If you think about it, most schools in rural areas and most clinics or government departments outside the major city centers will be able to access internet. So that means it might push e-government as the government is trying to roll out. So those are the opportunities government side. But when it comes to like the normal person on the street, if you look at it, it's a game changer in the sense that it will, one, make, for example, the other telcos that are there to wake up and try and review their prices. As it stands now, internet prices are quite expensive. Of course, they'll say bring in data into Zimbabwe. There's a whole lot of hullabaloo going on, like we're taking it from the sea, bringing it to Zimbabwe is quite expensive, but Starlink, the prices will be down. And if Starlink follows the trend that I have in the 5 or 6 countries that it has been so far, we're looking at an unlimited or uncapped package going for anything between $33 to $44 if it continues the trend that it is right now. So that's already cheaper by far than most packages that have been offered here in Zimbabwe. So as you know, the internet is a vast, major game changer in the sense that also creatives will now be able to create content. Entrepreneurs can now do businesses. It's a vast, and I can't really put my finger on it, but it's going to open a lot of opportunities for people who are at the moment unable to go online because of data cost. That's like most people in Zimbabwe have been clamoring about that data is expensive. So it should bring down the prices, and also the competitors will think about it and look at it and try and bring it down. So yeah, I think that's what will happen for now.
Let me bring Mlungisi into conversation. Mlungisi has been this talk about Starlink for many months. We've seen other countries being licensed to use Starlink, and Zimbabwe has been like asking when are we going to have Starlink being licensed? How big is this this call by the government to say they're going to license Starlink? How big is it?
I think, as Sean has already said, that is going to be a game changer, because of late the internet in Zimbabwe was very bad. You find that you are maybe even on a WhatsApp call, you can literally hear the internet falling. So the internet was bad. There will be a lot of opportunities, as Sean has already said, in business, in creatives. For example, if you have been on Facebook, we have seen in Nigeria, people like ghetto-like areas creating content and everything. Like even in Southeast Asia, you can see these people making these fun videos. Someone is on a tree and someone is cutting, and you can see these people, they are wasting internet. They have unlimited internet. So I think we are also now starting to see, maybe we are going to have now maybe rural people being on TikTok and everything, maybe some of them becoming influencers, and a lot of opportunities will be created. For example, if you see that in Zimbabwe, there are a lot of people who are in the diaspora. Maybe someone who is staying in, let's say, in Cholocho, Binga, or Kes, who is good in teaching Ndebele. They may get maybe 100 clients of the children of people who are in diaspora and teaching them, maybe charging them whether $20, $50 a month, and that is going to create employment opportunities. And also considering that as Zimbabweans, maybe our accent is not very bad in terms of English accent. So probably opportunities in call centers and everything like that, maybe some of the jobs that have been traditionally done by Indians and other people, we can now also get into that space. But it means that we also need to have some reliable electricity on top of having a reliable internet. A lot of opportunities will be created. Maybe even some rural kids who are smart enough, we'll find them. They can now, some kids in like gas, they will be now able to learn coding, digital marketing, graphic designing, and all those skills that are essential for the digital economy. So a lot of opportunities are going to be created. Yeah. a lot of maybe courses that are for free on Coursera and all those sites. Even on YouTube, you can learn a lot of things, like even installing solar systems, boreholes, and everything. So a lot of people who can use those opportunities are going to see their lives being transformed.
Should allow me to bring the issue of myths and also these other fake stories that have been circulating. People have been asking, where can I get a Starlink SIM card? Is there a SIM card for Starlink? Talk to us about the equipment needed for Starlink, and then maybe try to break it down to someone who's watching the show, say, Makaya, what is Starlink actually?
Okay, so Starlink, number one, does not need a SIM card. What you need the gadget itself. And from the whole equation, maybe just to add on, we might, like I said, it will be a game changer for like consumers who are consuming internet. But then if you try and dig deeper, you'll notice that maybe to a certain extent, Starlink might not be the target audience for everyone, because the equipment itself, you're looking at ideally 500, 600 US just to get the gadget itself. And then afterwards, the monthly subscriptions are around below, let's say $43, $50. So it depends. Does everyone have $600 lying around to buy a Starlink? That could be the question mark. But of late, I've seen like in Zambia, there have been specials that are going for $300. But it's a once-off payment. So you have to weigh your pros and cons, whether it is. So you need the gadget, and after getting the gadget, you need to pay the subscriptions per monthly, which is like $43 or $50 US. Hopefully it'll be somewhere there or even lesser. So there's no SIM card needed, and it uses what's called low orbital Earth satellite. So it's using satellite. So the Starlink dish points to the sky. You like the current versions that are there, you point it to the ground, then it swivels around and then aims for a satellite that is there, and then it starts when it connects, that's when you get the internet, as long as the subscription is paid up for. So the game changer is, we know in rural areas, like remember the telephone took forever for people in rural areas to have the telephone. Then the mobile networks came in and people could have access to the telephone. Same with this thing. You do not need fiber. You do not need copper. You do not need anything. You just plug it anywhere in the remote area in Zimbabwe. It will pick up, and then you have internet. So that's where the game changer is. So I see people in rural areas, or people who are out of locations where they can put fiber. They can install this Starlink, and then they get running, and that's it. Fiber, when you look at it, is still the fastest around and reliable, but the pricing is a bit finicky. That's what the problem is when it comes to the pricing. It's expensive for the ordinary person to use fiber and even use the SIM cards that have been provided by some of these LTEs that are provided by some of these mobile network operators. So Starlink, in that case, like the first movers in Zimbabwe, the people who like things will be the first ones to buy these gadgets, and then they install them, then they use it, then it'll trickle down the the pyramid for people to buy the ones that they want. But there is the first movers who are going to buy it, of course, like they're already there in Zimbabwe. So there's going to be a second wave. Because if you look at it again, some people I know they're paying bills close to like $400, $500 for fiber, which is quite, it's something else. It's expensive. But now if you're going to pay something less than $50 a month, you weigh the cons. After 4 months, you've bought yourself a kit. So those are the pros and cons that you need. But to answer your question again, no SIM card needed. You just buy the gadget. And I think the gadget, normally how it works, like they say, the devil's in the details. From the announcement that was made by the president, they're saying that IMC is the one that is the sole trader. How it will work, no one knows at the moment. But ideally, how it normally works is you go online, go into the Starlink website, order it, put in your credit card details, put in your address. It will tell you that your service is available in this country or in this location. And then it deducts the money from your card, and then they ship it to you. And then afterwards, you're good to go. Yep. So I don't know how it will work.
I'll have to bring links into that in the issue of IMC, Communication PVT Limited, on the issue of the president announced to say you're going to give this contract to IMC Communication Limited. I spoke about that on a space earlier on the past days around that. When was tender flighted? Where other companies being awarded this tender and so on? Speak to us more about that contract. You're having the middleman to run this thing. Is it okay to have a middleman to run this thing?
Yeah, I think this is the manifestation of what we have in Zimbabwe. This mentality, the touter mentality. You see, when we are driving, maybe let's say we are driving to Kweru, we are by those gum trees in Harare, on Harare Road. There are those guys who are standing there. There is a customer who went there, who knows that you get lifts to Harare from this point, but this guy wants to be paid something for them to give you a lift. So this is a problem, probably what the economists, they call it rent-seeking behavior, because we have companies which are specifically formed to just milk from what others are producing without adding any value. Because as Shoni has already said that normally the model is for you to order on their website, they send to you. But now we have someone who is saying I'm a local partner, and it is even embarrassing to see that that website was just being created online. They were trying to edit everything using those templates and everything, and I'm not sure whether it's now back online, but last time I checked they were saying we are coming back online. So it is unfortunate that or maybe fortunate on the side of Wicknell that he is connected to those in power, because they are just literally telling us that you cannot make money without us getting something, which is very unfortunate, because that is a bad way of it's not even entrepreneurship. Those guys are just a sort of parasites who are just feeding on someone who is you come up with your idea, and then someone says, because I know the president or I know someone who is in power, if you don't give me a cut, I can't allow you to operate.
But Mlungisi, I was watching an interview where the former Minister of ICT, the Superman, was speaking to that interview there. He was speaking on the issue of taxes around Starlink, to say, if you're going to license Starlink, you're supposed to be paying tax, some sort of government receiving tax from Starlink there. Speak to us, Sean, around the issue of taxes there, having a middleman there. Won't it affect the pricing of Starlink equipment if you have a middleman, also trying to pay tax to the government of Zimbabwe?
So I'd like to add on to what Mlungisi said. So the model for Starlink is they do not want any middlemen. So it's going to be interesting how it's going to work in Zimbabwe. Yeah, again, if you're following reports from South Africa, a lot of people got cut in South Africa. Their Starlinks got cut and customers were clamoring, making noise because there was a middleman. So they are not into the model of having a middleman inside the whole equation. They want you to own it because, again, Starlink is linked to your email address. So I don't know, like I say, the devil's in the details. I do not know how this arrangement will work, because when you sign up for Starlink, it links to your personal email address, and then that's how you control your account without any involvement of an email, because it takes directly from your credit card. Maybe, I don't know, we will see how it works. Maybe Starlink and IMC will give us more details moving forward. And then going back to the issues of taxes. So he might answer better because he's a communist, but from what I know is for everything that we do when we pay online, there's a 2% from Ncube, right? The 2% IMT, there are taxes that are already there. So yes, Starlink is going to pay tax because it's going to be domiciled here in Zimbabwe. And I think the other biggest game changer, like if they manage to charge the prices in ZiG, which I think they will, not in US dollars, they allow ZiG and US dollars to be charged. That's where they'll make most people might jump onto it, and then there'll be a lot of revenue from there. But of course, there's going to be some tax. Of course, there's going to be the 15% VAT and the IMT. So money is going to be there. Might it bring up the prices? Yeah, maybe here and there. But bear in mind, again, we're trying to stick to the regional or the regional global pricing. So normally is around 40, 50, not more than $50 for a local Starlink. It's below. Some are going for, I know that some are going for $23. Like in Zambia, it was going for $23. I might be wrong, but it was somewhere there. It was around $50 if you're on roaming, meaning that you registered, let's say in Zambia, and then you say roaming in Zimbabwe. That's what some people were doing, right? So it should be around 23. It should be not more than $23. $23 to $50. That would be the target price. So again, I do not know how they're going to do their pricing. It's going to be interesting moving forward. On the taxes side, they're going to make their money, the government. I do not know then how it will happen, like when these MNOs, these mobile network operators, I know there's a 2% fund that goes into, a certain percentage fund that goes in if you've got operators. That's where the details are again. I do not know how Starlink is going to do that. Are they going to pay for that, or they're just a service? So that's where, again, the details need to be clarified and scrutinized moving forward.
Do you want to add on that, on the issue of taxes or from Starlink?
Yeah, I think that is shown as already said. If you look at the Econet and the current operators in Zimbabwe, I think they pay roughly the VAT 15%. Then there is another tax, is excise, whatever, duty, something like that. I think the tax before you operate is something like 28 to 30% of your revenue. So in that case, as Shoni is saying, that maybe let's say if you are working with a base price of $40, then we add 30%, that will mean another $12. Probably at $50, we are still supposed to get your subscription, even if we are paying taxes. We don't know if maybe ICM will add some more components.
But if IMC communication that one is being given the contract, right, to do this, being the middleman, obviously they want to add their own percentage to what Starlink already charges. Won't that affect the pricing when it comes to Brighton if the consumer wants to buy this kit? Won't that affect the pricing as compared to other areas like Zambia, for example, where there's no middleman? Won't that affect the pricing?
Again, the devils, we're now speculating, I'm not sure, but maybe the thinking is it would be that some people, they're not the target audience could be for IMC, maybe it's for government departments or parastatals to order from IMC. That's where they would probably get the, but a normal person, I do not know how it will work, unless you go on the website and then they say you get it. Of course, bear in mind, maybe before we bash too much IMC, in every country, there are registered local dealers or partners that Starlink is working. They'll say, okay, get it from here. So maybe that could be the issue. Maybe we're assuming a lot of things. Again, we do not know the full details or the extent. Maybe what raises eyebrows or that the president said this is the official partner. But in these places, there are registered sellers that are allowed, where you're allowed to go buy the Starlink, buy Starlink itself. So maybe that could be the case. So again, the devil.
Yeah. But Sean, these ones were given the contract by the president. When the president announced, said we're going to give contract to IMC, not Starlink didn't announce, say you're going to give to IMC. I think that's where the difference is when it comes to this dealership and contractual issues. Mlungisi?
Yeah, I think he maybe is Sean is saying that we could be speculating on other things. Maybe Starlink is likely to have a recommended price. Yeah, maybe they have a recommended to say if you are the reseller or the distributor. Let's say we are shipping these units at maybe we are giving them to you at 400, but you can charge up to 500. Probably there are certain limitations in is how much we can charge. Maybe I have seen a lot of people also speculating that maybe IMC is likely to make their money with government agencies and whatever. But maybe when it comes to individuals, obviously, even if they try to overprice that thing, people can always find a way of getting their units into the country. So I don't think maybe there is much opportunity for them to milk individuals as such.
But now that you have this contract have been given, this contract to say you're going to be the middleman in courts for this tender or whatever, right? Is the person allowed to go and maybe ship from Zambia or ship from out of the country and bring it on his own and operate it on his own? Is it legal allowed?
Middleman, I think maybe he's the authorized dealer. Let's put it that way. Okay, maybe middleman, authorized dealer. Again, it depends on the laws of the land, hey. But anyway, Starlink is now allowed, hey. So I don't see a problem whereby you can bring your own device here. Again, it depends on what Starlink and have agreed on with IMC. That's where the issue is. Remember, again, there was a lot of noise whereby Starlink even sent out emails saying they're going to cut people out sometime in a certain date in May. I think there was pressure that people were now using the roaming facility, and that was the issue that was there. So it depends if the Starlink can attack or go down on each device to say, no, this was not imported using this. There might be a certain batch that is for Zimbabwe. Again, I'm speculating, so I do not know. So there might be a certain batch that will be assigned to Zimbabwe. Maybe if you do not buy it from Wicknell's company, it might not work. I do not know. But I don't think that you cannot regulate technology. It's complicated. You cannot. You cannot. It's in this day of modern age, it's hard to regulate such things. And again, the normal pricing, I keep on saying $40, $50, it should be around $23 if I'm talking about the roaming price. But the normal standard price should be around $23, $25 for other regions. That's the price that has been going between $23 to $25. That's the normal price that has been doing the rounds. And then the roaming is around $48, $50. So yeah.
There's been articles being written around the issue of Starlink being a threat, security threat to our sovereignty as a country. And you know, the government ministers have been talking about, we're going to see about the issue of Starlink regularizing and using the licensing and so on. What took Zimbabwean government so long to license Starlink?
I think the issue of a security threat is always thrown around to mean something that cannot be controlled by the government. Because probably in a Zim setup, you see the traditional operators that we have at the moment. Let's say there are some riots in Zimbabwe or something like that. Someone, let's say from the president's office or whatever, the ministry, they can easily, or portals, they can easily phone Econet and say, shut down your network. So I think their main threat was to say, how then do we shut down this one, which is not operating from Zimbabwe? So that is what probably they meant by security threats, because I remember even this article where they spoke about the digital sovereignty and everything. Interesting that the same people from Herald are now changing, saying this is a good thing. But look, in Zimbabwe we are using Western whatever, whether it's Western, Chinese tech. We don't have our own platforms or whatever technology. So at the end of the day, everything, whether you are using your Microsoft, you are using your Apple, whatever, the servers and everything, we don't have them in Zimbabwe, Facebook or everything. So we don't have an alternative in Zimbabwe. So we cannot really, we have already given out our whatever digital, whatever security and whatever sovereignty, because we cannot we don't have our alternative, like unlike the Chinese, they may say don't use this, but we have this. But in Zimbabwe, we cannot say don't use this because we don't have the alternative. On the issue why it took this long for them to license, obviously, the answer is who was given the license, or the partner, who was the recommended partner from the government. It shows that probably some people, they probably wanted to eat. They wanted to say, how do we get a share? How do we get a cut from this?
But Sean, also speaking of other mobile service providers, I won't mention the names of those providers. Our data prices have been high, and the speed has been poor speed, maybe quality of the speed, right? Would you say we will see maybe a drop in terms of prices, or we're going to see maybe speed being better because of the coming of Starlink in Zimbabwe?
So, other competitors. So, to answer your question again, Starlink is at the forefront of the low orbital Earth satellites.
Yeah. What is low orbital satellites?
So it's satellites that are, I think they're like 500 kilometers away from the Earth. They're like 400 or 500 kilometers. That's where they're hanging. Unlike the traditional one, I believe they are more than that. So they're closer to the Earth. And interestingly enough, Liquid, right? Liquid Africa has signed a deal with OneWeb. They've also got their own version of the low orbit Earth satellite. So it's now opening up, the space is opening up that, okay, there'll be another, OneWeb is another competitor to Starlink. Almost same technology, same concept, same technology, which is now their preferred partner is going to be Liquid to try and penetrate Africa. And the Chinese, I read that in this year or early next year, they're also launching their low orbital Earth satellite. So there's now competition in the low orbital Earth satellites, right? Now, when it comes to our mobile network operators, you're saying that data is high and the speeds and so on and so forth. It should bring down, because most people will jump there, like people who can afford it, like corporates and other companies who would look at the balance sheet and say, no, but we're spending more money on the internet, let's try Starlink. They'll feel the pinch in some customers. Like I said, sometimes the normal person on the street might not be the target because of the price tag for the Starlink itself. But other corporates that can afford it, it makes a lot of sense to get yourself a Starlink. It's 10 times cheaper than what we're currently paying in Zimbabwe. Of course, there'll be argument that, no, we're bringing our data from outside Zimbabwe, you named and so forth. But the question is, Zambia is also a landlocked country. Why is it cheaper? Because I know in Zambia, Liquid is going for like equivalent to $23. I've seen a lot of articles, people say, but why is it like this? Why like this? There's a lot of issues when it comes to that. So hopefully the prices will come down. Whether the speeds will be fast, I doubt, because I don't think some of these mobile network operators have got the infrastructure. I remember during trade fair, one mobile network operator put up a tower, and then they were saying, no, there's 5G. 5G is now available, but it was only available at the trade fair vicinity areas. When you left and maybe reached maybe Coghlan or Milton Junior School, there was no, you couldn't pick up the 5G. So they need to invest. And again, maybe to counter to add on to what you were saying, maybe again, it was not about the preferred vendor. Remember also, these mobile network operators, they pay a lot of money. They pay a lot of taxes. They might have whispered a little ear to the government, said, if you license these guys, what's going to happen to our investment? Because they've been digging a lot of roads, eh? There's been a lot of fiber being installed, and you can't, after putting X amount of money, and then all of a sudden people stop. That's what happened. People move and go into another service, but you've invested a lot of money. You want to recuperate your money. So also maybe the business might have played a hand. They've made a noise that, no, what about us? What is our protection? That's why I notice sometimes, like in some commodities are protected by the government, like for cooking oil, but stop. There used to be that issue that you can't import certain things because you're protecting our industry. So that could be an issue again. That's why it took a bit of while to try and figure out the lay of the land. How do we make the mobile network operators be happy? And at the same time, the government also try and give internet for all. Like the president had said that he's trying, it's in line with the NS1 goals, you name it. Yeah. So that's the balance. There are it's a balancing act for everything, business-wise, political, citizen-wise. So yeah, that could be the issue. But hopefully the prices will go down. We hope they will go down with this advent of Starlink coming into Zimbabwe.
Just to wrap up our discussion this morning, I was looking at the manifesto from CCC. One of the points that they're saying you're going to do in the first 100 days was license Starlink. CCC was saying that in their manifesto, one of the 100 points for the 100 days, right? And then we see the government saying, no, we have licensed Starlink. This is not leaving anyone behind, learning with NTS1, not leaving no place behind, and trying to move on with digital times. Care to comment on that in terms of politically? What does it mean for that licensing to the Zimbabwe politics?
Yeah, I think in terms of politics governance, all along, remember that when for example, CCC, Nelson Chamisa, and his party, they were holding their rallies, and when we went online, obviously, they were followed by a lot of people. The argument that you always heard was, you are having supporters online, on Twitter and everything, but in rural areas there is no Twitter. So now, obviously, the equipment is still expensive, but it's now possible to have someone with their children in the diaspora putting Starlink there in their rural homes, and a lot of people, because remember, this is unlimited. So they can always have your neighbors coming, maybe your 20 neighbors. So eventually we are going to have some people in the rural areas with the Twitter and everything. So even those areas, let's say maybe traditional ZANU-PF strongholds where you could not go, you can now, in future, can now use Twitter and all these digital platforms to reach out to voters in those places. So politically, I think it was a good thing to license Starlink.
So we're going to see more voices speak about politics in Zimbabwe, particularly rural areas as well?
Yeah, I think so. Yes.
Sure, and lastly, to close off the show, the issue of weather. People are talking about the weather. If there's wind, if there's rain, does Starlink get affected by the weather?
So they claim no. But of course, sometimes if it's overcast, I need to be proven wrong. Yes, it might. But according to Starlink, no, it should not be affected by all, unless it's really clouded up. Yeah, but I think it has a 90% uptime, 90 or 99% uptime. It does not get affected by weather or by the elements, unless something out of the ordinary does happen, like it's overcast, nothing can come. Yeah, it should happen. It should happen, but I don't see it being inversely affected by weather patterns and stuff. So it works, and again, the car just stays outside. Hey, it's weatherproof. It's waterproof, weatherproof. It operates nicely outside on top of the roof. So yeah.
Yeah. Lastly, my closing remarks to you guys. As a tech guru, what does this mean to you? You're working online. You're always busy online. What does this move mean to you? Licensing of Starlink in Zimbabwe. In closing, Sean.
So the license of Zimbabwe is an opportunity for citizens, the people to be connected, to be online. It's another opportunity for people to be connected at an affordable price, hopefully, if it lands it at the prices that we're talking about, around $23, give or take. It gives people the opportunity to be online without being burdened that, oh, my data is going to finish or it's going to be X and Y. And again, I think the other game changer is I'm looking at for e-government. I think it's going to improve the government services, because I've seen it happening. I see they're trying to move everything to be e-government. And for schools in the rural areas, like schools in Cholocho now, they can have a Starlink, and then children can now go online. They start doing coding lessons. They do not be left behind in the digital divide. And of course, clinics, you name it, all these other civil service organizations, whether clinics, prisons, you name it, they should have access to the internet, which is what we want. We don't really care whoever brings it, but we're going to be a connected country, and which is a plus for everyone.
Mlungisi, in closing, what does this mean for democracy in Zimbabwe?
Yeah, I think with the good internet, it means that politicians can reach out to people who are in remote areas. It also means that those people in the rural areas, they are able to see that there is more to life. Like they can see that they for example, they say gold mafia. They can watch such things as gold mafia to say, no, these guys are just giving me 10 kgs of seeds, but they are taking billions of gold and everything. So I think it helps in terms of transparency, governance, e-governance, services, and every other things, education, all those things. I think they can help in terms of democracy, in dissemination of news and everything. Maybe let's say after a year, you will find that probably the viewership on site, people in Cholocho, Kezi, whatever, all those places, they could be now watching your program. Yeah.
And it works both ways.
Yeah.
Vis-a-vis also the citizens who will say, this politician called Brighton came and promised that polls, but it did not come. So it will encourage accountability on both sides, from the citizen side and from those who hold power.
Gentlemen, thank you so much for your time this morning. We're talking about licensing of Starlink in Zimbabwe. The government announced that Starlink has been licensed in Zimbabwe, given the contract to IMC Communications PVT Limited. We're going to see what's going to happen. The Minister of ICT speaking to say, we're going to explain the modalities, how this is going to be rolled out across the country. We'll wait to see what will happen. I hope you guys enjoy the show, and hope you guys will be following us on our platform, TikTok, Instagram, as well as YouTube. From myself, Brighton Ncube, it's bye for now.